$4.56 million is on the line. And these people are ruthless. Nobody is safe. Everybody is out for blood. And I'm loving it. Let's get into it.
I feel very confident right now.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lex, and I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Also, please hype the videos if you have hypes left for the week. All of this really inspires me to keep creating and allows the videos to get out further. Thank you guys so much for engaging with the content and just blowing up the channel. And we are getting so close. We're getting so close to 10,000 subscribers. I am less than 500 away. So please subscribe if you do like the content. Today, we are going to be talking about Squid Game, the challenge, episodes 1 through 4. I have thoroughly been enjoying this season. I think it has been messy. I think we have a lot of interesting characters. So let's jump on in. We start off with the classic Squid Game scene of everybody getting the little card. They standing outside.
I promised myself going into this game that there would be no line that I wouldn't be willing to cross.
They have all been summoned to come over to this warehouse where you already know those dorms are in there. The red masked men are here and they are all competing for $4.56 million. Off rip, we are introduced to dad and daughter, Chad and Zoe, and they notice, oh my goodness, how many people are here? Are there really 456 people here right now? And something is off, because that's entirely too many people. All of these people cannot stay. Baby, everyone is in this dorm, and honey, it is welcome to Squid Games. And they find out off rip, we are already playing a game. So the masked man, he comes on out and he asks for 2 volunteers.
This could be the last time I see you. And if it is,
No idea what they're about to do, but we see these 2 twin brothers, and boy, oh boy, these 2 are going to be a prominent match in this game. We see the 2 of them decide that they are going to be the ones to volunteer. They are very bold. They have a story. We later learn their names are Jacob and Raul, but for now, the masked man tells them, one of you stand on X and one of you stand on O. And again, when you see a split going on in Squid Game, it's because you know we gonna be splitting into groups. So the masked man essentially tells them, hey, one of you is gonna stand on X, one of you is gonna stand on O. You guys are on opposing teams. More info to come in a minute. If it was me, I would be extremely untrusting if I played the game with my sister, my partner, a friend. I would never volunteer as a group with somebody that I knew because it's always obvious that somebody from the group is probably not going to make it. But in other words, they find out that the team X is going to have to go into the white room and team O is going to stay into the room with the dorms. Once they get to the white room, both teams get the instructions and they find out that they are going to have to count to 456, but they have to do it on their own. So immediately they are trying to find people who have rhythm, trying to find people that could keep a good count, because whichever team is the closest is going to be the winner.
Group, let me tell you something. We are counting for all of you. Please do not blame us if we do not make it.
And from what they are led to know, the other team that does not make it is going to be eliminated. So immediately in both rooms, they are trying to figure out who they want to have do the count. Now in the dorm room, Ida, we find out she is a nurse. She basically steps up and says, I save people for a living. I can do it. I can go. So she is the designated counter for their room. In the white room, they are trying to find someone who's a musician. Again, musicians can keep really good counts. Back in the white room, they do pick Michael, who is player 89, and they get to count in. And immediately in the dorm room, they start to realize Ida's going just a little bit slow. So they are looking over to player 334, and they're like, should we tell her? Should we tell her? Should we tell her? Ida was going pretty slow. She was kind of going like this, so I'm guessing she was thinking of when she does maybe like chest compression or whatever they do. I don't know, child. She's a nurse, I believe she said, but it looked like she was trying to get into a flow. The problem with getting into a flow is that if your flow is a little bit too slow, then you are off. As they are deciding whether or not they're going to whisper through chain to Ida that she's going too slow, which they do eventually do, the white room, they're already hitting their butt.
298, 299.
They're already finished. And so at this point, the game is cooked. The game is over. Obviously, as we know, half of the players are wiped out immediately.
I want you to know.
Player 432 wins. And back in the blue room where everybody else done got pew-pewed, we still see that player 431 is there. And it's like, what happened? So we find out from the masked man that he is actually going to also get to remain alive, but at a cost. Since he volunteered, he gets safety, but he is going to have a mission. We learn a little bit more about our winner, Jacob, player 432, and we basically find out that him and his brother Raul, 431, they have a very strong connection because just a few years back, he had had a seizure randomly. He had caught him. He was foaming at the mouth, and it was totally random. He didn't know anything about it, and it was one of the scariest things ever because he was unconscious. He later found out that he had a benign brain tumor and luckily was able to get it out, but either way, that experience was traumatizing for him. Now, if you've been on my channel for a while, you know this is a near and dear story to my heart, as I was diagnosed earlier this year with a brain AVM, which is not a tumor, but it's a very similar treatment process. It's a very similar but different kind of lesion that you can have in your brain. And I also was diagnosed via passing out from a seizure. And my partner was there at the time, and I had just passed out, and it was very, very similar finding out that I had this lesion in my brain. I had no idea. Luckily, through multiple procedures and a surgery 10 weeks ago as of Friday, or on Friday, it'll be 10 weeks ago, I was also able to get my lesion removed, the mass removed. And so this story definitely stuck with me. I can definitely understand having that kind of bond with somebody when you go through an experience like that. That being said, the twins are very messy. Very messy. They be doing some shady stuff, but it's Squid Game, so everybody's ruthless. So Raul does join the group, and he kind of pulls his brother aside a little bit, and he's like, hey, I have a mission. Basically, I need to eliminate 3 people, and the way I have to do this is by going up to them and telling them, good luck in here. So for him, he's thinking about trying to find people who don't really have the best reasons for being here. He's trying to find people that are here for superficial reasons.
Yeah, what do you think you're going to do with the money then?
Honestly, I would rent a super yacht for like a week, and I would take me and all my friends out, and we would just party.
And mind you, the twins, they're talking a lot. Other people are starting to pick up that those two are really linked up. And again, I would not be attached at the hip to my twin or my partner or whoever I brought in this. I would definitely be on the other side of the room trying to make all kinds of friends in here. So Raul does start to go around to a couple of different people. He first talks to player 107, and she's basically like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm trying to party on a yacht with my friends. I'm trying to have fun. I'm trying to go on a trip. He's like, okay, good luck in here. He does not want to hear it. Raul then goes over to player 100, who we later find a little more about. His name is Mark. And he is basically talking about how he wants to have a wedding, the wedding of his dreams, because he is engaged right now. He wants to have a Star Wars wedding. He talks a little bit about wanting to rent out Disney World, all of this different stuff. And at first, Raul's like, Then he goes in deeper and he says all he really wants to do is protect his fiance and share the money with his parents. He says that he would give 2/3 of the money to himself and his fiance, and then 1/3 of the money to his parents. And that kind of really touches Raul, where he's like, okay, I can't quite get this guy out just yet. For the record, I am not one of the people that believes on these game shows that you need to be going through some struggle or some adversity. And I literally say this as someone that has went through a ton of adversity, especially this year. I don't really think that's a valid reason for getting people out on these shows. I think oftentimes people also feel that if you have a good job, you don't deserve to win. For me, I don't really subscribe to that, but I can definitely understand why people have that POV. Anyway, meanwhile, many of the other players are starting to realize that the British twins, Jacob and Raul, they're acting a little bit strange. They've been together a lot. Again, they are not being discreet at all. Also, a couple of people have counted that 3 beds are missing. We get a little more in depth on Mark. He is currently engaged, and most people would describe him as funny with a big heart. Now, he's a guy who's went through a lot. People kind of look down on him because of the way he looks, and they assume things about him. So coming here to Squid Game was definitely something that he wanted to accomplish. For him, his greatest dream was to find a redheaded, cute fiance, and he has that right now, so he wants to give her the world. Curtis also lets us know that he is trying to get to know a lot of people. He doesn't really want to stick just to his daughter, which is Zoe, player 369, because again, groups, duos, it really puts a target on your back. But Zoe's a little bit irritated at how social her dad is being, and she actually wants to tell him to back off because it might put a target on their back to be social, which I don't necessarily agree with that at all. But in either case, they find out it's time, and we are going to see the 3 people who are going to get eliminated. They have 5 more minutes. Jacob is suggesting to do the dad and daughter, but he's a little bit iffy on that. But there's also 2 brothers, 285 and 286, who they're like, maybe we can do them. Ultimately, though, the masked man comes in and he lets them know 227 people have already been eliminated, and y'all are going to eliminate 3 more. So we finally get Jacob's or Raul's decision.
Player 1.
That he is choosing player 108, which was the girl who said she wants to go on the cruise. And then he does choose the 2 brothers, 285 and 286. Well, that's all good. I had my eye on Zoe and her dad because they definitely seemed like they were starting to rub heads. But the next game is about to start. They are back to the game hall and they have to divide into groups of 10. Dad and daughter, they are separated, which I think is good. Don't ever be on a team with your partner. We are also introduced to Perla, and she is player 72, and she is also here with her brother. So she hasn't been that upfront about the fact that her brother is here, which I think is smart. Don't even tell people that you know someone. Just talk on the low, pretend that you're friends. I feel like a few of these people have been too eager to be like, this is my partner, this is my brother, this is my daughter. It's too much. Why are y'all giving away your cards so easily? We are introduced to Sydney, player number 16. She is somebody who was spoiled rotten, as she claims. Now, her dad would tell her no, but mom gave her literally whatever she wanted. So she says, even though you're spoiled rotten, it doesn't necessarily mean that you actually are a rotten person. And I'm like, Sydney, girl, you gonna be doing too much. You gonna get on my nerves already. Group 1, they get into the game hall and we find out that they are playing 6-legged pentathlons.
We're gonna get through.
Yes! 3, 2, 1, and jump.
Big jumps.
So the masked man, one of them just comes and right down the middle and splits them up. They are playing in groups of 5 and they have to race each other, playing these 5 games. Ball in a Cup, Flying Stone, Gongi, House of Cards, and Jengi. So the first side that wins is going to stay. The side that loses, they are going to be eliminated, and they are all connected by the legs. Sydney is pumped up. She said that she could sense the other team's fear. She feels like she's gonna kill it in these games. I don't know why, but she feels like she's about to be real good in these games, as we actually see Sydney's team walking really slowly. The other team, they is taking a hop and a skip, okay? They're like, we gon' hop. I definitely feel like in a game like this, you have an advantage if a lot of your team is of similar heights. And I definitely noticed that Team Sydney, I believe they were not really. They had some people that were significantly shorter, significantly taller. So I do think the teams where you're all same heights, your legs are kind of the same length, you could definitely just synchronize and jump. I'm gonna call them Team Sydney and Team Not Sydney. Now, Team Not Sydney, they fly through Ball in a Cup and they get to Flying Stone. However, they start missing very badly during this game. And I'm like, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. All you have to do is throw it and hit the stone. Pay attention. I feel like that is people's biggest downfall in this game, that they would get nervous and they would stop paying attention. So Team Sydney, they do end up catching up and they kind of equalize over at Gongi.
mess.
Take your time.
Sydney is doing gongi and she is panicking. And I'm like, what happened to all this big talk that you could sense their fear? You don't get scared. I'm like, okay, Sydney, I don't see that right now. So she starts panicking and the other team, they just breeze on through and they get right on over to House of Cards. So while Team Not Sydney had a really big head start, they had player 52 building the house. And she was shaking, she was sweaty. I was like, no. She had such a bad, it was just so bad. She's like, oh my God, I can't do this. I'm like, come on. How did y'all determine who is supposed to do which thing? She was extremely nervous. And by this point, Team Not Sydney, Team Sydney, excuse me, they get on over there. While Team Sydney did kind of give them a run for their money, eventually in the final hour, Team Not Sydney does keep that lead.
Because of me.
Sorry, guys.
Breeze on through and they win. They win the game. And Team Sydney is pew-pewed on out of here, and all that big talk that Sydney gave us about being spoiled rotten and she can't smell people's fear meant nothing because she lost. Sydney is feeling really, really guilty because the team lost because of her, which they did because she gave them a very, very, very big, like the other team, a huge lead because she got so nervous during gongi. So it was definitely her fault. She feels like she let the team down, but it don't matter because y'all are out. We get a compilation of the other teams going. Of note, player 274, when she was building that House of Cards, I'm like, what is going on? She going like this? I'm like, The engaged guy, Mark, he is super happy just to be here. His team finishes on up. Now we have Perla, who is back in the dorms, but she's not sure if her brother Jeffrey is going to be here. He is. And then we also find out that, what's his name? Kurt, Zoe's team is actually the last to go, and they get to watch them over on the TV going.
Come on, Kurt. Come on, Kurt. I'm praying for your daughter, brother. I can't.
Learn a little more about Zoe and Kurt's story. Zoe is an NFL cheerleader right now, and her dad have a very special bond. They both have that adventurous side to them. They've climbed Mount Everest together, so that's something that they've always related to. Apparently, some of the other kids or some of her other siblings are always like, oh, it seems like you like Zoe. You favor Zoe more. What is that all about? But Kurt is opening up back in the dorms to another player about Zoe's name and why she has that name. And he basically explains that they had another child who was born and was not breathing after a couple of seconds. And because of that, they chose Zoe for her name because Zoe means life. We end off episode 1 on this cliffhanger of if Zoe is going to make it or not. Episode 2. We see Team Zoe, they're killing it in the first few games. They get right through gongi, they get right through the ball game, and then they get over to House of Cards.
Let's go.
And Zoe is doing it. The other team, they start to really, really fumble when it comes to this game. And eventually, Zoe does win. Kurt is overjoyed that his daughter is going to be coming back. And unfortunately, the other team, they done pew-pewed on out of here. See dad and daughter reunited. Everybody's kind of canoodling in the dorms. And for Mark, he says his plan is to try to make as many friends as possible. We see a lot of Mark's story and how, again, he's been judged because of the way he looks. He's been judged because of what people perceive of him. So he really just wants to become friendly and make those allies with people around. We are introduced to Viper, player 152, and he is talking about how he did not get any sleep today. He's not really sure about his energy. But meanwhile, while he's talking about all that, they find out that the maintenance room is open.
Oh my gosh. There's a candy bar. Candy.
Oh my gosh.
Basically, in the maintenance room, there are all these coins hidden around, and they can use the coins to get some candy and some other things that are going to become of importance later. So, a few people find some coins around the room. Ryan, player 272, he goes back to share with the rest of the class that didn't go over to the maintenance room that 1 coin equals 1 cookie or 1 treat.
We just want to share. Don't do it. We don't need no cookie right now.
Marcus, right?
And a bunch of people are very, very sus about that because they're like, why would he tell us this? Would we eat this cookie? And that's the thing about this game is that you never really know who you can trust. So a lot of people are like, I ain't touching that cookie. I am not going to be using that coin, or I am not going to be taking anything from you, as you shouldn't in Squid Game. But the masked men walk on in and we find out that, yeah, y'all survived, but not really, because we still need to cut y'all down. So it is time for a vote.
Ultimately, what this comes down to, your humanity versus your logic.
What's the consensus? Because I'm going first.
I know what I'm doing.
Because I'm not saying.
And this vote is going to be the slowest players on each team that survived. We are going to be voting who we gonna get out. So we find out it is player 180, 89, 40, 344, and 289. Those are our slowest players. And now it is time to figure out who we gonna save. Of note, remember, player 89 is the musician who was in the first episode that counted for them. And so he kind of tries to play on that, like, I was here. The reason why a lot of y'all are here is because of me. Remember, I was the one counting. But anyways, they have to go up and press X or O to decide if they want to save these people or not. I ain't gonna hold you. It's Squid Game, so if I have an opportunity to get people out, especially 5 people, sorry, y'all gonna have to head out. But player 455, Isaac, he is the first to vote, and it sort of sets a precedent where most other people do end up voting them out. And unfortunately, these players are all eliminated. The game is ruthless. It doesn't matter if you done helped everybody else out because everyone is here for that $4.56 million. So at this point, we are updated that 119 players have been eliminated, and people are starting to get a little bit sus on Jonty. So Jonty, when he went up to vote, and he's player, what is he, player 118. When he went up, he pretended that it was super hard for him to make this decision.
I need everyone in this dorm to think I'm the sweet little Aussie boy that no one wants to vote out.
I can't do it to you boys, man.
He acted like, oh, he didn't want to do this to his bros, but he did it anyway. So people are starting to clock that he's fake. And they're starting to clock that he is definitely putting on. Lunchtime. So they find out that they have a choice. You can either choose to have your lunch, or you can line up in the other line and take you a scratcher. Mostly everybody decides to go for some lunch, but we have Peter, player number 24, and Sam, player number 352, that both decide that they are going to choose luck.
For me to eliminate somebody, this is my chance to get a threat out of this game.
There you go. I know it's good too.
Even you, Sam.
Thank you. So I'm hoping that my luck would carry on today here.
Sam says that she's going to choose because she was a lucky child growing up. All I gotta ask is, girl, what that mean? What's a lucky child? We are introduced a little bit more to Samantha, called Sam, and we find out that basically she was the middle child of her family. She explains that for her, she was not her parents' favorite. They never really had any huge expectations of her because she wasn't the baby of the family or the oldest of the family. So she always just kind of felt like she was doing things just because. In that story, I don't know what made her think she was lucky, but anyways, Peter is the first to pick his scratcher, and he gets a disadvantage. So he got a disadvantage and no lunch. So you hungry and you at a disadvantage. Terrible, awful. A few other people get treats, coins, all different kinds of things. And then it is Sam's turn. Sam is the last to pick her scratcher, and she also gets a disadvantage. And I'm like, girl, you should have known. Nothing you told in your story said that you are lucky. But anyway, now that some other people have coins, they go on back to the vending machine, and they find out that in the vending machine, there is an option to eliminate a player for 5 coins. Nobody really wants to take that right now. Nobody's really trying to stir the pot. I believe there was only one player that actually had enough coins to do that, and she said, nah. If you thought that 431 and 432, the twins, that they were just going to get to lay in the shadows, absolutely not. Because Ryan, player number 272, he says, I am very suspicious of those 2 twins. I feel like they are up to something nefarious. I feel like they are in here for themselves. And they seem to be very popular right now and have a lot of people around them that trust them. So we learn a little bit more about Peter, player number 24. We find out that his father was a pastor in the Pentecostal church, and when he passed away, his mom married another pastor. And then after that, when it didn't work out, she married another pastor. So this man is like, I thought I was going to get out of this, but I have been stuck in this forever. Now, he claims he does still believe in God, but he feels like he's going to hell. In either case, it is time for the second game. Time for everybody to march up them colorful stairs and get right on back to the game hall. They walk in and there's these boxes with all of these dots in them that are different colors. It's like a rectangle and then it has dots inside of it and they're all different colors.
Yo, fool?
Yeah. Oh, T, what you doing, bro?
I'm letting fate decide. I want to take the risk. Me guts.
So immediately a couple of people clock that there is 3 less dots than people, but in either case, they are told you need to find a space and you need to stick on it. So after everybody gets in their little squares, there's 3 people left and we don't know what's gonna happen. This is Squid Game, so for all we know, they gonna get you on out of here. But in this particular case, they find out that they are not playing the game. The 3 people that did not have a circle. Those players, they are set to stay in the game hall while everybody else has to go in, but they find out that yes, you're not playing the game. However, you are going to have to pick another player on your behalf to play for you. So player 111, he picks Kareem, which is player 437. Player 118, he picks Viper. And then player 82, he picks player 383. So this game is playing catch, and basically the way it works is that each team by color is in a line and one person from each team goes in order and they get to choose who they want to throw the ball to. They can either throw it to someone on their team, they can throw it to another team. However, if the ball is dropped, both you and the person that threw it are out. There are 16 balls in the game, and once all 16 balls are dropped, no matter how many people are left, everybody remaining is going to be safe. So Viper, he comes up with a plan off rip, and he's like, look, no shade, but all the bad people, y'all should be in the front. So that way, when it's a further throw, us better people can be in the back. And you know what? It's not a bad idea. I truly think it's not a bad idea. I would have probably said that and maybe the tall people and or athletic people, the people that can actually jump and catch it, they should definitely be further to the back just in case. And of course, this is beneficial to the people in the back because Viper even says that, look, I ain't gonna hold you. I'm expecting them to drop all the balls before then, so I don't even have to play. But if I do have to play, I have a pretty good chance of winning still. One of the players on another team, she chimes in and she's like, I could pretend that I have a condition and I can't move my hands and then no one's gonna want to throw to me. Everybody's like, girl, that ain't gonna work. That is not gonna work. They would not have put you on Squid Game the challenge if you had a hand condition. But in either case, Ryan, player 272, let's remember him, he starts to go in on Mark.
We put Mark right here or right here, no one's gonna throw anything to Mark.
Yeah. Agreed.
I'm just throwing it out there. Just listen.
He's like, look, I'm not gonna lie, Mark is going to be judged hard. No one is gonna want to throw him to him on purpose. So they're trying to debate where they're gonna put Mark because he's saying that he's gonna be judged, no offense, no shade. Someone else chimes in and is like, no. What we're not gonna do is sit here and single out one player. But of course that makes Mark feel terrible because he's been judged his entire life and people are assuming that he's not going to be able to catch. So everyone's throwing, it's going easily. It seems like this game is going to be a breeze, at least for the beginning. Then we get to Raul, player 431. And at first, they all have a team. They're all together. Everything is great. The idea is, hey, just throw to your team, you know? Just throw to your team. Raul decides, though, that he wants to do something a little different.
You throw me that ball and I will catch it.
Oh, here we go.
We have a plan. Throw me the ball, I'm gonna catch it. I played baseball my whole life. Throw me the ball.
He decides instead that he wants to throw to player 234. And I'm like, again, you already have a target on your back. Why are you doing more things to put a target on your back? So Matthew, player number 98, we haven't been introduced to him a lot yet. He's like, stick with the team. Stick with the team. What are you doing? Stick with the team. And you know what? I was with him on that one because why would you go against the team out of nowhere? He's like, just stick with it. Just throw it to me. Just throw it to me. Just throw it to me. Come on, just do it. Eventually, after some deliberation, he does decide to stick with the team. But I was like, again, another strike on your back, as if you didn't just eliminate a bunch of people. So Matt tries to tell him he a baseball player, but we actually find out that Matt is in law enforcement. But anyways, once he gets the ball, this man is so loud and people are starting to pick up that he's really loud, really boisterous. He's really annoying. So again, another person just putting unnecessary targets on their back. And we get another big streak of everyone catching it until we get to player 357. And unfortunately, player 357 drops it. I believe the first one to drop it. So unfortunately, 357 and 91 are eliminated. Then we get to Sam, player 352. And remember, she has a disadvantage. They bring on out her disadvantage and we find out she got this little tiny ball that she needs to throw.
3, 2, 1, throw.
So she ends up throwing to Peter, player number 24, and luckily he's able to catch it pretty easily. I didn't feel like that disadvantage was that bad. As long as you were paying attention and you're in the right position and her throw wasn't like all over the place, it was fine. Then it's Peter's turn, and as we know, Peter also has a disadvantage, and his is a blindfold. I thought that hers was going to be a blindfold. I was like, that seems very unbalanced. But anyway, he throws it, and the person he throws it to also catches it. Throws it to Ryan, player 272, and it's Ryan's turn. And then Ryan throws it like whoosh. And I'm like, what are you doing? He throws it like crazy. And of course the person does not catch it. And mind you, Ryan was the one talking all that big mess about, what's his name? That is getting engaged. He was talking all that mess about him just for him to actually get eliminated as well. He and 264 are eliminated, and then we are on to Mark. And it's a whole cliffhanger. Is Mark going to be able to catch it? Is he in the game? This is his chance. This is his opportunity. Episode 3.
100%.
I'm going to catch the ball. 100%.
100%.
So, will Mark make it? We see the ball going in slow-mo.
3.
And it makes it over. And Mark misses. And I was like, Mark, come on. That wasn't even a hard catch. It wasn't even a hard catch, but Mark is out. Sorry, Mark. He's not going to get to give his fiance the wedding of their dream. 13 balls are remaining. There's still deliberation in the white room about whether or not people are going to make it. As we know, one of them chose Viper, and Viper is literally all the way in the back. But people are starting to drop left and right, so the balls are dropping. We got 12 balls left next. Just a series of drops, and Viper is starting to second guess the decision that he made to stand in the back of the line, because he says, I thought by this point they were already going to have dropped all of them, so I didn't even think I was going to have to play at this point. But the fact that there's still like 13 balls left, I'm starting to get a little worried that I'm actually going to have to catch this thing. He does realize that the way they are throwing it, and I noticed this as well, they're throwing it in a way where it's bouncing every single time as it's going further and further away. I don't know, I'm not a sporty gal, but I would think that you would probably want to throw high and overhand so the person can literally just boom and it just jump up and catch it, right? And it seems like a lot of them are throwing like this, or they're doing things like that, where it's like the person they have to get on the floor and people are literally crashing, booming on the floor like crazy. 7 balls are remaining, and it is finally time to throw to none other than Viper. Will he be safe? What's his name be safe? 118 Jaunty. Will he be safe? Will he not? Viper catches it. But don't forget that Viper also has to throw it to somebody else. So Viper's asking, who wants it? Who wants it? Who wants it? Nobody wants it. Everybody's trying to say, I'm sick. I got this. I can't catch. And then we finally get on to 390, who is Dalton.
So we're almost there.
Yeah, no,
I
got you. I got you. I got you. I'm protecting y'all.
Tap in right now.
Why would you want to stop it early? Give yourself and your team a chance.
And he literally turns around and he's like, I'm not going to turn around. I'm not going to turn around. So you could throw it if you want, but we both going to leave. And I'm like, the mess. Viper is player 152. And we get a little bit more background on him. Growing up, he was in a very strict household. So for him, he always dreamt of being a rock star. So this persona Viper is someone who's fearless, who takes a lot of risks, who is willing to do anything. And at this point, coming on here, he really wants to prove to himself that he can do it. Viper is literally yelling at Dalton 390 and telling him, play the game, play the game, play the game, which it was petty. It was very petty. I ain't gonna hold you. He should have definitely played the game. But Viper decides anyways, look, I'm going with 390. And what does Dalton do? He turns on around and he outbluffs his bluff, basically. Viper goes on and throw it. And what happened? Boing. It drops. It drops, and Viper, Dalton, and Shanti are all eliminated right then and right there. At this point, remember, Curtis, he has his daughter Zoe there, and it's all about, will Zoe still be there? Will they run out of balls? They eventually do run out of balls. We get a bunch of people dropping it. Basically, at this point, everybody drops it. Zoe is safe, and everybody else who is left there is also safe. Player number 82 and 111 come back to the dorms with everyone else, and they basically explain everything about how they had to pick a player to play on their behalf. Obviously, Shanti is gone because he chose Viper. And meanwhile, Matt is still on the prowl, okay? Matt is like, I am trying to gather this little group together so we can get the twins out. Because now, since he was about to turn on the group during the games, it is evidently clear that the twins are out here for themselves. The masked men are here, and we find out that the prize pot is at $3.82 million. So they got a lot of money, and 74 players are left in the game. It's the dark of night, and we see the masked men come into the dorms while everyone is sleeping, and they place down one of those dolls. The ones that you could keep opening over and over again. And morning time rolls around. So morning time rolls around and they are told, do not touch this doll until it starts singing. There becomes a lot of buzz about who would take it, who wants to open it. Matt is one of the people that says he wants to open it, but people are starting to become very suspicious of him. There's a little group starting to be like, I don't know about Matt. He's loud, he's big, he's scary. The accent is doing a lot. He from New York. It's too much. The doll starts singing, and the first player to run over to it is Austin, player 153.
Unbelievable.
What does it say?
Disadvantage.
Disadvantage of next game.
And off rip, he gets an advantage. He finds out, or disadvantage, excuse me. He gets a disadvantage, and then he finds out that he needs to pass it on to the next person when the doll starts singing. So the doll starts singing, and he's asking. He actually goes over to Matt, number 98, and says, hey, you wanted it last time, so what's good? And he's like, not so much anymore. I feel like my fate was to get it the first time, not now, so I'm okay. But Greg, number 417, he decides that he's going to go ahead and volunteer for it, and he doesn't get anything. He just gets better luck next time, but he does still have the responsibility of figuring out who he's going to give that doll to next. So we see a little group of people talking, and we have Eric, number 415, who lets this group know it's his birthday. So everybody starts to sing, but Eric tells us in his confessional, it's not actually his birthday.
My girlfriend back home, we found out that she's expecting a month ago.
He puts on the performance of a lifetime though, and he lets them know that it's been a hard time right now. He and his girlfriend just found out they are expecting a month ago. All of this is lies. He says that he wants to come into this game, wake up, and lie every day. And he especially wants to say things about his wife expecting and all of that because it's going to touch a lot of the parents in the house, a lot of the family-oriented people in the house. We learn a little bit more about him, and he was raised by two moms. And when he was a teenager, he found out he had about 15 or 16 more siblings through the sperm donor. Now he has found out that he has 150 half siblings through the sperm donor. He claims that they all have a group chat. They'll all ask each other, hey, do you have this disorder? Do you have this going on? So, hey. But it is time for Greg to pass on that singing doll, and he passes it over to Isaiah 410, who volunteers. So he gets a treat. They bring him on out a cake.
A cake? It's a little too nice. Is it gameplay? Is it to get everyone to think that you're nice?
Thank you so much for sharing.
And he decides that he's going to try to share this cake with everybody so that way he can build favor. Player number 75, she's like, oh, I don't trust him. I think he's being real shady right now, trying to give everyone that cake and get on everybody's good side. Isaiah also feels very similar about Natalie, player number 75, where he's like, I don't know. I just feel like she gives off kind of a negative energy that I don't really want to be around. So I'm not going to beef with her, but I'm also not trying to be near her. We learned from Isaiah that he grew up in a basketball family, and for him, a lot of his desire for attention and to be big is because he was always trying to get his dad's approval. So for him, he did a lot of things, hoping that it would make his dad proud. Isaiah does give the doll to player number 75 next, and she's like, I don't want it. Why do I have to take it? And he's like, look, she's like, I don't want it. Why would you give it to me? But we find out that she actually gets an advantage and she gets 10 coins. So we find out a little more about Natalie, and she is a child of deaf adults. Her parents are both deaf. So for her, she learned to express herself a lot through sign language. She has a lot of big reaction. She didn't grow up hearing a lot of noise or being able to express herself in that way. So that's the reason that she has these big reactions and you can see everything on her face. But anyways, Natalie is called over to the boiler room immediately.
I have to think carefully. I don't trust 410. But do I pick someone I don't trust, who's a popular player, or someone who isn't friends with a lot of people?
It's told, look, you got a 10 coin. You need to eliminate somebody immediately. So obviously her obvious choice is Isaiah, player 410, but she does realize that Isaiah is very popular. There's a lot of people behind him, and it's going to put a target on her back. I ain't gonna hold you. I feel like she was damned if she did and damned if she don't, because I feel like at this point she already had a little target on her back. And whoever she chose, whether she chose Isaiah, someone who is popular, or she chose a random person, it just looks sneaky either way. But we find out that she actually chooses to eliminate player 80. And the reason why she chooses player 80 is because she didn't really know her that well. It's not somebody that she's in an alliance with. So she didn't want to pick somebody that she has some sort of connection with. And people are still looking at her sideways. It's not looking good for Natalie. Player 303 is the next person to get the doll, and she gets immunity until the end of the next game. And then she knows off rip that she's trying to give it to Matt, player number 98. Now, Matt is up in the bed sleeping, trying to hide away from everyone. And he goes, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. And I'm like, why do people think they can say they don't want it? If you are given this doll, you need to take the doll. So anyway, he gets it anyway, and he is told to go over to the boiler room alone. They ring the phone up and they tell him, look, you need to pick another player immediately that's going to go up against you in a vote. And it's either going to be you or that person that gets eliminated. Who's it going to be? Episode 4. So Matt has to come back to the dorms. He's fake crying about how this is such a hard decision for him, that he's gonna have to pick one of these people. And August, player number 111, he starts to get really paranoid that it might actually be him going up. Now we find out a little bit more about August. He is originally from Guatemala, but his parents did not have enough money, so they had put him up for adoption. So for him, he's really struggled in his life to find his identity and to know where he belongs. But we find out instead that Matt is choosing to actually put up number 431.
It is a shame that you tried to go against our team's plan yesterday. It's written in
one of the twins. Matt says there is absolutely no way that he cannot weaken one of the twins. And as they start the vote, it is clear he is cooked. That twin is absolutely cooked. It was like 54 to 18. And as we know, 431 is eliminated. defeated. He is done. Matt tries to go over and talk to player 432, and he's like, yo, just let me talk, bro. Matt's like, I'm sorry I got your brother out. I'm sorry I got your brother out. He's like, yeah, I get it. It's a good game move. He's like, just let me talk. And Matt do be talking a lot. He is very New York. Perla does mention again that she has her brother Jeffrey here, but I like them because I feel like, again, they are keeping it under wraps. I don't know that anybody actually knows that the two of them are related. We see Eric, Mr. I'm gonna lie every single second, and Melissa, player 110, they are also having kind of a little alliance, a loose alliance where the two of them come to each other and they share some of the different information they've been learning. But Melissa does share with Eric that she really does want to target the people that have partners in here. And Eric says some weird stuff. He's like, I hope my future babies are just like Melissa because she's awesome. I think she's cool. So I hope my real baby, when it comes, is just like her. I'm like, okay, Eric. So it's dinner time and everybody has to pick up a little spoon and eat their beans for dinner. And we find out that player number 21, Marcus, he finds a little note in his spoon that he decides to share with player 153, which is Austin.
There was a note in that spoon.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah.
What?
It said the next game is Mingle, and the first group number is 6.
Essentially telling him that the next game is Mingle, and the first group number is going to be 6. So they decide that they want to build a little team and they also want to add Tyler in. However, Austin, player number 153, he has a disadvantage. So he basically finds out that he actually needs to be chained to somebody else during this game, which is definitely a disadvantage in Mingle when we need exact numbers. He decides to choose number 432, who is the remaining twin, and he decides to share the information that he got about the game and what the first group number is going to be. Let the games begin. They are playing Mingle. They're on this spinning merry-go-round thing, and they are going to call out a number, and there are multiple different doors. So you need to be behind a door with the exact amount of people that is called in that number. Otherwise, you are out. Also, if your door has more people or less people, the incorrect number of people behind it when it is closed, when the time is up, you are also out. The first number is 6, and everybody knew that, so 4 people get out this time, and then things start to heat up. We have a couple of the prominent people trying to build alliances, but the problem is that it's a little bit hard to trust these people. So they find out that the next number is 12, which is huge. Everybody makes it into rooms, and we find out Vanessa, who was one of the people that was in a separate alliance, she quickly was able to make it into another room that is not with her own alliance. And though that group is like, look, if it gets to a point where we need 11 people, she's gonna get the boot first. Next number is 9, and we see one of the red rooms, and they have entirely too many people, and it's like, who's gonna go? Who's gonna go? Who's gonna go?
7 seconds left. You guys are
Go! Guys,
What do you have? What do you have? Go! Come here! Get in!
oh my God!
Nobody wants to go. I'm pretty sure Matthew's in that room and his big mouth is like, I'm not going. I'm not going to leave. I'm here. So August decides to take one for the team and try to find another door, which is absurd because August was already there. He was one of the first people. As you expect, August did not end up finding a room and he gets eliminated and people are absolutely devastated, which is horrible because number one, August, why did you leave? I'm sorry, if you were first, you should have not left. But number two, he was one of the first people there. Nobody wanted to take him and then he got out. And August feels horrible because he told his family that he had what it takes to win this game. Next up is 7. And nobody wants the chain gang. They're like, absolutely not. With 7, we cannot take 2 people. And once again, the room that Matthew's in is having a fight. This time, they are trying to figure out who's going to be the person to go. They have one extra person. And Trinity, he is deciding whether or not he wants to go help out his bestie in here.
Trinity, please
Somebody come with me, just one more.
No, we're not going.
Just one more, bro. Literally just one more. Let me do just one more.
I'm so angry.
Which is number 262. But number 137 or 172 is legitimately holding him back. He's like, no, like, I want to go help my friend. I want to go help my friend. I ain't gonna hold you. I would not leave one of these rooms if I was in them. But she is literally physically restraining him, which is annoying. So player 437 is actually the one that ends up turning around and trying to find another room. The chain gang is eliminated. They also recognize that number 75, Melanie, she was lying to all of them, trying to tell them, oh, no, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna go there. But in reality, the reason why she was trying to get out is so she could get to the next door first. So at this point, huge target on her back. She's had a target on her back for episodes now, and it's given that her alliance is not gonna want to save her any longer. Next up is 4, and only one person is eliminated, and then the next number is 7 again. The group that Trinity's in, they squabbling again. Trinity personally wants out 172, said she was physically restraining him, but Natalie, as she's trying to go into a group, they don't boot her out. She tries to get in there, they're like, absolutely not.
He's disloyal because he doesn't have faithful to anybody here.
So why was she telling us to go to 4?
She was lying to us so she can get to the first.
Deserves it.
These groups already made sure they're going to keep certain players in.
You turned your back on us. Nobody really wants her at this point, and Natalie does unfortunately end up getting eliminated. For Natalie, she says this whole time she played the game for herself and she hoped that everyone else was going to do it. She never really made any promises to anyone else, but at the same time, that's the balance here, is that you have to decide when you're going to be ruthless, but when you're also going to try to get people to trust you. It's a really hard balance in this game. So at this point, I think it was Matt's big mouth again that was like, let's not play. We're not going to play anymore. We're not going to play anymore. Let's all hold hands. We're not going to play. So they all decide they're not going to play the game. They're done. They're finished. So the front man comes on in and he's like, okay, all right. Y'all don't want to play anymore? That's fine. Get in groups of 2. The next number's 2. He lets them know, since y'all wanted to stop this game so bad, you guys can accept these gifts. And what's in the bag? None other than marbles. And you already know what that means. Oh, mom or dad and daughter, we got pairing up, brothers pairing up, brother and sister. I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we still pairing up with people we know? Because we know that 50% of these people are going to be cut, and 1 out of these 2 partners is going to make it. And that is where we end off this batch of episodes. We're going to start off with marbles next episode. So if you made it to this point of the video, that means you liked the video. So I would greatly appreciate if you would consider supporting the channel by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Also, please hype the videos. It really does mean a lot to me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to y'all for the next drop. Bye!